Now that we've defined what the identity matrix is, we can now talk about what are called inverses of matrices. So A and B are inverses if when you do A times B, you get I, and that's also what you get when you do B times A. And to make this easier for you to understand, think about in the real number system, we know that number 1 is the identity, right? 1 is the multiplicative identity. And the multiplicative inverse of 3 is 1/3, because 3 times 1/3 is 1, and also 1/3 times 3 is equal to 1. So 3 and 1/3 are called inverses of each other, multiplicative inverses of each other in the real number system. Okay, same thing. I mean, it's no different if I did, 2/3 times 3/2, right? That gets you 1. So 2/3 and 3/2 are multiplicative inverses of each other. So in matrix multiplication, it's a little bit different. 1 is the identity matrix. So the question, are A and B inverses of each other? We can answer that only if we multiply A times B and see what we get. If we get the identity when we do it in both directions, then the answer is yes. Otherwise, the answer is no. So let's do A times B first. A times B would be 3, -2, -1, 1. 1, 2, 1, 3. Now I'm going to speed a little bit through the multiplication, just because if you want review on multiplication, you can see my other videos. But just follow along. I know this is going to be a 2 by 2. 3 times 1 plus -2 times 1 is 1. 3 times 2 plus -2 times 3 is 6 minus 6, which is 0. -1 times 1 plus 1 times 1 is 0. And -1 times 2 plus 1 times 3 is 1. So it worked in that direction. We do have to check both directions. So 1 times 3 plus 2 times -1 gives me 1 times 3 plus 2 times -1 gives me 1. 1 times -2 plus 2 times 1 gives me 0. 1 times 3 plus 3 times 1 gives, -1 gives me 0. And 1 times -2 plus 3 times 1 gives me 1. So notice these, in both cases, in both directions, we got the identity. And so the answer to the question is yes. A and B are indeed inverses of each other. And that's it. So the one thing you got to keep in mind is you do have to check both directions for reasons we'll see in class. I know it's obvious in the real number system that 3 times 1/3 is the same as 1/3 times 3, but it may not always be the case that you can multiply matrices in both directions. So in order to be true inverses, the multiplication in both directions has to give you the identity, which we showed here.